Hello, I'm Gues
with Edith Chimana.
And Rosine Mwisenene.
We are working on a project called Guess Who Comes to Dinner, and in this project we are going to talk about anthropology, different cultures and foodways, commonalities and differences of those cultures, and some definitions used by anthropologists. First of all, anthropology is the study of human culture, and this is mainly done to understand different cultures in terms of rituals, language, and customs and other things. And there are different methods used by anthropologists to study different cultures, and among those methods there is fieldwork, which is going to a society which they want to study about and see what's happened there and involve in that society in order to have vivid or some information that are accurate.
The second method is observation, which is analyzing all activities, events done in a society through getting rituals or food and knowing the reason why those food are being used in those events.
The third method is called discussion. This is where the anthropologists do the interviews with different people about the culture, discussing different cultures or the similarities among those cultures.
Okay, there is also some perspectives that anthropologists have, and one of the perspectives is to not judge people, and I think Alice can help us in explaining.
This perspective, it means that those anthropologists have their own culture that they believe or that they live in. So if they are going to search for the cultures, they have to not judge the other's culture, because when they are doing research, they meet with different people who have the different culture from what those anthropologists have. So if they tell them differences among those cultures, like their beliefs or their stereotypes and other things which are different from their own cultures, they could tend to judge those cultures. So this perspective, it helps them do not judge those culture. Instead, they understand those culture that they are searching for or what they are learning for, and understand them, just learning for them without judging them.
In addition, those anthropologists move toward their society because they always want to get more data or information to know what those people believe or think about their cultures.
What I can add on is that by going to the field or going to the society they want to understand the culture, they rely on observation. This is because anthropologists don't go in books to read about a society, but they go in the society and observe for themselves about a society they are learning. So, apart from the methods and perspectives of anthropologists, there are some definitions used in anthropology, and one of the definition is enculturation, which refers to the process through which people or anthropologists familiarize themselves and learn a culture by learning its language, beliefs, norms, and customs. And we have another definition, which is ethnocentrism, which is the feeling and believing that your own culture is superior to other cultures.
Okay, another definition is cultural relativity. This is a concept in which the anthropologists or other people know the cultural norms and the values uh, in order to get the meaningful of those cultures and compare them to the society. Also, this concept is used to just appreciating or understanding others' culture. Another definition is symbol or symbolism. Uh, symbol is something that is used to present another thing which is different from the first one. Also, symbolism is just using that symbol to present something. An example that I can give is like mathematical sign of plus. It is a symbol which is used to show that something is added in other thing. So it's also the same as other symbols. It's something which is used to present another thing.
Another definition is subculture, where subculture is a culture group within a main group of that culture. This group has different culture and belief and also perception, so that they can, like if you say subculture, it means that there is some groups of culture which are in main group or in one group, in one culture. The other definition is ritual, where ritual are actions that is done repetitively in a specific place or location, and you including time and also the order, whether that research is done in or that repetitive is done.
From the definitions, we wanted to have some clues about the words used in anthropology, and here we are going to talk about the 6 different cultures we searched about, and this is going to begin by explaining what she did on her research.
Okay, by starting with Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine, the first thing I can say is why that Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine was considered as important food. The first reason is that it was used to reflect on their homeland. They used this Dutch in order to reflect on their home, because they were outside in different countries like in America and others on the world. So they wanted to keep using this Dutch in order to reflect on their home. Another thing which made them to be important is that it helped them to keep their culture. Even though those Pennsylvanian people were outside of their country, they wanted to use this Dutch in order to keep their culture that they were used when they were in their country. Another thing is that it was used to reduce waste of some food. These Pennsylvanian Dutch cuisine, they used them in order to combine different kinds of food, even those kinds of food that are not eaten by other people, but those Pennsylvanian, they use them to cook in what they usually eat, so that no food can be wasted. Um, about the rituals which is associated with Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine is that this Pennsylvanian Dutch cuisine was used to cook traditional food. That is the first ritual that I can say. Another ritual is that it was a symbol of their history. So that Pennsylvanian Dutch cuisine, it was a unique among different countries, and it was recognized by other countries. So they keep that Dutch cuisine so that it can continue to be a symbol of their history. Another thing is that it was a symbol of their creativity in cooking. Uh, this Pennsylvanian Dutch cuisine was different from other ways or other materials that people currently use in cooking. So it was known by those Pennsylvanian people and others, but they were being used by only Pennsylvanian people. So it showed the creativity in cooking, because it could combine a different kind of food that others didn't use or didn't know. Or about the sayings of food, about the cultural values, or the what people says, or what people believes about the food or traditional food, different to the cultural values. Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine helped to keep their culture. As long as they were using Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine, it helped them to keep their culture of cooking by using that kind of Dutch. Another thing is that it helped them to keep their traditional beliefs, because they believe that they are the first one who know how to cook well, who can use that Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine to help them also to keep their traditional beliefs. Um, Also, this Pennsylvanian Dutch cuisine help them to keep their their culture in terms of religion, because this kind of food were taken as something which is praised by God, so they keep them because of their traditional religion. Yeah, that is what I started about Pennsylvania, so you can ask me a question if you have any.
For me, it's not a question but a compliment for the discussion. As we have discussed about how they used to cook those foods without wasting them, those food which are not eaten. We've discussed that also it's like economic skill that they had, and also personality of keeping things, because there's other people who can eat them. Those who doesn't have, or they have that culture of doing economics, applying economic skills.
Also, one thing I can add on is that from the discussion we had, we said that in Pennsylvania, the Dutch cuisine, that Pennsylvanian Dutch cuisine was used in ceremonies such as crowning a king or a leader, and it was used to keep their tradition, mostly their religion.
Yeah. I think it's all about Pennsylvania and Dutch cuisine. Maybe I can go ahead and tell you about Hawaiian poi. Also, I have done research about Hawaiian poi. So, referring to the questions that were asked in the project, uh, I learned on them and answered the question. Uh, the first is the reasons why Hawaiian poi was considered as an important food. So the first reason is that it represented native Hawaiians, which was Haloa. This is from research. As long as they were using Hawaiian poi, they took it as something which can present their native. Uh, Another reason is that it was taken as a valuable food. This is because when they were on the table, like taking dinner or lunch, they always used it to have Hawaiian poi in all kinds of food that they were preparing. They couldn't forget to add Hawaiian poi because they gave it values more than other food. Also, another thing is that which shows that it was considered an important food is that it was not forgivable to have quarrel argue or haggle when poi was on the table. This means that when there was Hawaiian poi on the table, no one was allowed to have a sin or to commit any crime or any mistake while having Hawaiian poi on the table, because they thought that Hawaiian poi is something which is which has values or which is blessed by God. So they thought that as long as you commit a crime or you have a mistake, it was a sin which can be punished by God. Okay. Another question is that the rituals which associated with Hawaiian Poi. So some rituals, and it is symbolized family. When they had Hawaiian Poi, the family had a mass of coming and sit all of them on the table so that they can make a conversation, so that they can share everything because of just using Hawaiian Poi. Another thing is that it was a tool of an extension of the family. So they thought that as long as they were using Hawaiian Poi, they can have or they can expand their family because people could come to sit on the table with invited people because just they know that they're going to use Hawaiian Poi. So it was something which was planned, uh, like inviting people to share Hawaiian Poi. Also in that time they believed that it could expand their family as long as they invited other friends who can also join their family. Another ritual is that it is symbolized love. This is because Hawaiian Poi was taken as a food which is blessed by God. So they thought that it can cure different diseases, which can provide help to the people of Hawaiian. So another thing that it was a specific food which they believe that it can cure different diseases like diarrhea, gastroenteritis, cancer, and other things that they could suffer from. So it was taken as important because it could cure those diseases and others in kinds of like they need some medicine. So another thing is that it was considered as a health food which can help them last longer. So as other people have different kinds of food that they used to eat mostly. Also, Hawaiian people thought that Hawaiian Poi would be the first food that they could eat so that they can get strong, so that they can live longer without any suffering. So that was all about Hawaiian Poi that I sat on. So if you have something to add on, like if you remember the discussion, you can add on, or if you have any problem or question, you can ask me.
What I can add on from the discussion is that Hawaiian Poi help like increase the friendship and relationship and also unity among the family and even the community from those people whom we invited in the event or when we are going to tackle at dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, also, one thing I can add on can help is that some of the rituals that were associated with Hawaiian Poi were like dancing, singing, and feasting, and plus drinking. And also, I wanted to emphasize on a point of reducing criminal rates because Hawaiian Poi was taken as a blessing from God or sacred. There was no crimes related that could happen while taking Hawaiian Poi, and it helped to keep peace in the society.
Yeah.
After my friend finishing to present, also me, I did a research on tailgating party and also on Hindu wedding. Now I'm going to tell you about the tailgating party as a process of participating in tailgate party. It comes as the game that is played before the game is started. For instance, football, people used to play this game as a pre-game. When the football game is going to start, for them they used to have fun, eating, drinking, and dancing as a pre-game of that football game. However, they are not only people who have the target on their cars, but also other people who want to have fun or sharing thought ideas used to participate in that tailgate party to share that happiness in games. Also, in this tailgate party, people like used to have different kind of food that they used to bring that present their rituals or present their cultures. Some of them was chinchinat chili, hamburgers, hot dog, sausage, chicken, baked bean, and cold salads. And they used to bring those kind of food so that they can have fun. They are the one that bring them spirit and then provide. They believe that those foods are the one which bring energy to them, and that makes them to give spirit to those players having to play that game. They also decorate the place where this tailgate party is going to take by using flags and the other decoration materials. They bring also different kind of games like toys to children, video games, songs, and frisbee to play while they are waiting the game to start. And also, as the indication of those food in their culture, they believe that eating those food was just to bring happiness in them and among the people who are coming in tailgate party, spirit to the prayers, and also bring unity to those people who are in that game, increase friendship and relationship among them. Also, it was kind of breeding a strong love among those people who meet. Some of them was not knowing each other, but this game create a relationship which was strong in their game. So if there's any addition from discussion or question, we can go on.
In addition to what you said, from the discussion, is that during the tailgating party, there were some people who didn't have enough food, but also they were welcomed to come in order to share with those who had a lot of food, if I can say. Also, some who didn't have their cars, they also could come and share with the others who have cars without any problem or without being ashamed or without being separated each other according to the wealth that they have. Instead, they shared everything. If some have many things, others have few things, they all shared all together so that they can strengthen their love or their relationship.
Also, one thing I can add on is that from the tailgating party, people could be unified and could create strong ties in that party because they would come without knowing each other, but because of the music, food shared, and being together, they could be the relationship between them could be increased, which was good for the society because it would keep the security and peace.
Okay. In addition to what you said, also there was a device to bring umbrellas and water because sometimes they used it to be sun time so that it can help them to protect them from sun. Moving to the Hindu wedding, as the second research I did, it was a ceremony to both groom and bride's family. They have some common activity that they do, which are Kanadan, Panigrahana, and Spatapad. Those are the three activities that they do, which are common in the Hindu weddings. Kanyadan means giving a daughter to the family of that man who come to take that daughter. Panigrahana was just volunteering and hold the hand of each other. And also Saptapat was to take 7 steps along the fire, like saying that they will love each other, those kind of words that they used to say. And also they used to hide the bride from before the wedding start so that they can see how that partner will behave or the patient of her. In that wedding, they used to bring different kind of foods, which was having some information in their ritual, in their culture, and also in their beliefs. One of the food was coconuts, and other was cumin seed, rice, and brown sugar. They use coconuts as divine offering, or like to show that the marriage is blessed. And also, this coconut was symbolizing prosperity to them. And the rice was used as a symbol of subsistence or nourishment to the family, to show that they are going to be blessed, to be sustainable, and being rich. Also, this rice was just to encourage groom and bride to love each other and share bitterness and sweetness of life. Even if it can be hard, they can help each other. That's what rice was symbolizing. Also, this commune seeds was all about wishing them productivity in their families and development, which was really interesting in their wedding. And if the also if I can say in their culture, they used to bring those food to show that they can share even to other people, to share them happiness, to share them the productivity, and give a good example to other people who are around for them to do a marriage. This Hindu wedding was important to Hinduism because it determined that they believe in their God. They have beliefs because they used to practice those cultures to show that they always remember and put in practice the culture of Hindu. If there is an additional information, we can.
Thank you. Something I can add is that in those 7 steps, well, can you remind me
Spatapad.
in Spatapad, they also circulate around the fire in 7 steps with their hand crossed by promising each other what they will be doing, how they will be caring each other, and others like family members are also are allowed and hearing those promises that they will be telling each other.
So also, one thing to add on is that in Hindu weddings there could be singing, dancing, and giving gifts to the wedded bride and groom, and they could be united by that wedding because families could come from far and come to celebrate that wedding. So from the 4 researches done by my colleagues, I did also on Tlingit potlatch and Japanese rice. And beginning with Tlingit potlatch, which was done in Northwest Pacific Northwest. According to Harvard.edu, this was held to gain or increase fame or increase social status in the society. And the importance of Tlingit potlatch was to increase social status, as I said, marking a special event in the family, such as a wedding, the birth of the first child of a boy child, and so there are some cultures that could hold potlatches as their culture, and some of those cultures include Nucha, Nuth, Kos Salish, Belakola, and Haida. And in this potlatch, there could be served some food, and those foods varied seasonally depending on the season those food could grow. And some of the food include fish, sea meat, and all these two meat, fish and sea meat were prepared using sea oil, which was like to mark prosperity because it was expensive. And some of the rituals that were associated with Tlingit potlatch were like giving away some properties, destroying other properties, and this giving away of properties and destroying them was like to show that the society is rich and to show that the family that holds that potlatch has many things. It was to show like prosperity and wealth. Also, there was gifts were given on free will. In North Pacific Northwest, there was no economic like barter trades and other trade, but there was a gift economy where gifts were given to other families. So if a person could hold this potlatch, that family could give gifts to other people in order to share with others and show that they are unified and they love each other. Also, some of the things that were done were like dancing, singing, and wearing of masks in order to feast and drink. If you have any question or an addition, you can add them. Okay.
For me, the question I have is a potlatch is a kind of food or
Okay, well, for the potlatch, a potlatch it was like a party for feasting and dancing and share food that I said about fish and seeing it, but potlatch was a party.
oh, does it mean that there is no specific kind of food that they were using? It's just they just used different kind of
Um, okay, thank you. For the potlatch, I think Rosine can add on of the food, specific foods.
They use those foods, but there was specific foods that they used to present their cultures, which are those sea meats and fishes, because they wanted them to share out with those people whom are invited.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Also, I researched about Japanese rice, and according to Japanese Digest, cultivating rice is difficult, and because it is difficult, it gives a sense of humor, independence, conscious thinking, and action assessment, which is seen with Japanese people. Also, rice in Japanese have different meanings, and we have gohan, which means cooked rice, and meal itself. Like if you are served a meal containing rice, that food is called gohan. Also, we have asagohan, which means breakfast. Also, we have hirogahan, which means lunch. And breakfast, lunch, and other meals contain rice, which is common in Japan. Also, the ceremonies that were involved or where rice was used was like crowning or a king, an emperor becoming a king. Rice was used. Also, rice was used to show wealth through show, which is the measurement of wealth through rice. Um, like the people who had many plantations of rice were the wealthier people, and that measurement was called show. And also there was mochi, which was a ceremonial food. It was like a cake made from rice. And when you are given mochi as a food, you could say itadakimasu, like to say you appreciate that you are served that rice, or to say thank you. Also, the importance of rice in Japan was like it was a source of togetherness because people could come together and share rice, and they could plant rice in common plantations. They could put together land and plant rice. Also, it showed prosperity because cultivating rice involved many difficult processes. So the person owning a big plantation could be rich and could say that he is prosper. Also, it showed independence because many things come from rice in Japan, so they rely on that rice, and they could not go in other societies to look for food, but they could use rice to make cakes, to make meals, and to make drinks, and such as wines. Also, it showed majesty because an emperor becoming a king, he could use rice, so it could show that he's a majesty. Also, it could show enjoyment and creativity because by making many things from rice, it could show that they are creative. So, like if you have a question to add on? Okay.
Thank you for the presentation. Really, rice was like an important food to Japanese because it was, as we discussed before, it was the main food that would be on the table, either on lunch, dinner, or for the breakfast. So it means that rice was the main food that cannot be missed on the table when they're going to eat.
Also, Japan was known as a country which are included in the most 5 countries in the world which cultivate rice. So it was an important and valuable kind of food that they were relying on among those all the countries in the world. So they respected it so much.
Okay, one thing we forgot is that Japan itself means rice. Or when you say about Japan, you mean rice, and when you say rice, you mean Japan. So apart from the 6 researches that we did in other countries, we also did a research in our country, which is Rwanda, and we worked on different food in this country. And beginning from what I researched on, I did research on beans, which is called ibishyimbo in Kinyarwanda, and I went to a district of Rwanda, which is Musanze district, where they cultivate beans, and I asked an old person about beans in the society. Some of the things that he told me about beans is that beans are difficult to cultivate as rice in Japan, and beans showed independence in Rwanda, and beans were used to show a video in Rwanda. There is a saying in Kinyarwanda that says, when you eat a meal without ibishyimbo or beans, you have not taken a meal. Also, beans have vitamins, and because in Rwanda there were no these artificial vitamins, beans were taken to give a healthy to people. Also, some of the rituals that were associated with taking beans is that while taking beans, they could be feasting, they could prepare many foods with beans, and there could be dancing, taking alcohol, and that will be used also to give like a praise to the kings, and it was also used to share with other people. Like if in ceremonies such as weddings, they could take beans and give to the wedding couple in order to wish them prosperity and wealth. So I think my colleagues have something to add on.
Another thing that I can add on beans or ibishyimbo is that in traditional culture of Rwanda, beans was taken as an important food which can replace meat. This is because meat were in surplus. They didn't. They were not otherwise. People couldn't be able to find meat every day, but they knew that the beans could replace that meat, so they used to eat beans a lot of time or every time that they were taking food.
What I can add on is that when people having or owning the food, it was meaningful for them because they show that that person is wealthy person, because owning big land of beans was just a wealthy person. And also they used the beans like giving praise to the king, as today's people give revenues to their country. The people give the beans to the king as praising him.
Also, one thing I forgot about is that beans have many ways to prepare them. Like you can use their like what we call mushogoro, where you use the leaves and prepare like you are preparing legumes, or you can use the beans themselves to prepare. You can cook them in different ways, and that was to show that it gives like a variety. So that was all about beans. Ladies can continue.
So thank you. From the research that I did, I made a research about honey or uchi in Kinyarwanda. So actually, honey is like a liquid drinks that people use by adding them into other drinks like water or like tea or other thing. So in Rwanda also we have honey, or we used to make it in traditional culture. So from the research I did, I went in South Province at Lusatila village, and I found an old man who were just sitting across the road, and he had something and in cassava. So in casserole, sorry, I didn't know what he had. So I tried to ask them what was inside the casserole, and he said that it was honey. So he was just selling that across the road. So I tried to ask him different questions. So here are some of the questions that I asked. So the first question, I asked how they were in that village, and he said that they were okay, but they had the problem of getting the market for their product. So I asked what product that they had, and he replied to me that they had honey as a product that they were selling. So I asked him if he usually makes honey, and he replied yes. And in that question, I started to ask how to make honey. So he explained to me how they make honey and how they start to do so. And from the research that I did, it was about honey or ubuki in Rwanda. So I went in South Province and Satira village, and I met with a person who was selling honey, and we started to discuss about honey. And he told me one thing. I asked how they make honey, how they were considering honey in traditional culture. And he's old. Um, he has 80 years. He is so old. So he told me that in traditional culture, they used honey as an important thing because it was used to make different drinks like sorghum beer and other banana beer, which were taken as valuable drink, and which were like taxed to the king. And most of the people who used honey, they were considered as a rich people. So in few words, he told me that honey or ubuki was used just to symbolize wealth, also to unify people, because those sorghum beer which were added by with honey were used in the event like ceremony, like to celebrate something which has happened, like a newborn, or if it is a wedding, they use it those valuable drinks because they will be added on honey. So he told me that for the different drinks to be valuable or to be expensive, it should be added on the honey, because honey was scarce in that time. Also, he told me that they used honey to thank someone, like to appreciate someone which has done a good work or a good job. So that is about the honey. Also, they considered honey as a thing which can symbolize a good health, because they used honey to cure different diseases like injection or stomach infection and others. Also, they added in the milk to cure poison from any person who drank the poison. Also, they used honey to symbolize like good family which has a good wife. If a person or a man had a good wife, the others came to visit with honey. That show that he has a good wife. I think that's all about the honey.
Before continuing or speaking about the research I did, I can add on honey, which was used to give to make a wine for the wedding in the wedding ceremony to give to the father of the girl and the father of the boy in the wedding to show the respect.
Yeah.
On my research, I did about milk in Ugandan culture, which they call amata. Milk was a drink in Ugandan culture, also used as a drink to praise the king. For the people who were having cows in their home, after having a productivity, they get those milk and then go to praise the king for the good work, for the security in their lives. Also, it was a symbol of prosperity and productivity or harvest to the country in the way the kingdom is praised. They make an event of harvest of praising the kingdom and then show the productivity that they earned in that time. Also, it was used and today also it is used as wishing development and growth to the bride and groom's family in the wedding. I got this from the research that I did to the man who is a grandfather of a boy called Alphonse, whom I study with. His grandfather has 95 years, and when I was visiting Alphonse, his grandfather saw Alphonse giving me water to minimize thirst, and then he beat him because he gives me water by telling him, "You Alphonse, do you think that water is going to minimize thirst?" And then at that time I asked why he chose milk, and he told me that in Ugandan culture, when a person comes to visit you in that first time, you used to give them milk because it's a drink which minimizes thirst and provides healthy life. And also he told me that it is an important drink because it was the one which provided many things. It creates many variety of uses, use. Like when he told me that because he told me that you can drink milk after extracting it in the cow or make fresh milk, and also that fresh milk can help you to get butter oil. And also he told me that butter oil was by asking how they make the butter oil from the milk. It was very confusing, and how I can ask myself, oh, how can you get oil in that white milk? And he told me that they keep the milk for 2 to 3 days, and then after they use what we call mutozo and igisao to mix that milk, and then in the bottom they exchange the container, and then at the bottom there is milk butter oil which remain in that igisao, and then they extract in that igisao, and then they use that butter oil to cook food, to eat as something to add on the food which is cooked in different way. And also he told me that the umutozo and the gisabo was the main equipment that was not allowed to be lost in that activity. And what was the taboos in that to the milk was that there is no girl who was supposed to extract milk from a cow. It was a job for the boy. And also as well, the boy was not allowed to mix milk and to extract butter oil in the fresh milk. It was a job of the girl. This in comparing, showing the rituals of how this was used in the culture of Rwanda, was that separating activities, like giving someone activity to be responsible. It helped them to be responsible. Another one was that milk was increasing, was taken, people perceived that it provided beauty and white eyes to girls, and also acquire a soft body, because for the past the girls or you women who drink milk was having soft body, white eyes, and also have a beauty appearance. If there is any additional,
Thank you. From what we heard or from what we know is that milk, there are some taboos associated with taking milk, such as you can't take milk and eat meat because it was like you are killing all the cows in the country. And from all the cultures we studied about, we find that also there are some commonalities between these cultures, but also there are some differences. And among the commonalities we found is that all the cultures, while their food was not taken to eat, not only to eat, but it was also used to bring people together and to increase and strengthen unity among the people of the society. This is shown by where we talked about honey, which was used to make some drinks, are called drinks that was called guava. Yes, and that drink was used to bring people together and get drunk, and they could increase their unity because they have shared some food and drank together. Yeah.
Also in Pennsylvania and Dutch, and also in Hawaiian boy, also they will food that we use to unify people. It means that those are those kind of food that we searched on. They were all used to unify people and to increase the unity among the people. It is not only the unity, but also those food were used to to show their culture, if I can say, because you understand that from the beginning of the research that we did, even in our traditional cultures, all of the food were used just to keep their culture, to continue reminding about their culture. Like if Pennsylvania or Hawaiian were just keeping their culture. In Rwanda also we used milk. In nowadays we still use it, and also we still use honey. So that means that we all want to keep our culture and that food.
and also what I can add is that saying about tailgating and adding on those Japanese rice, as we have seen, Japanese rice used to bring people together or and share out that rice. And also in tailgating, people was coming together to share happiness, to share food, as well as in Japanese did. So this means that those culture also was having commonality of bringing people together, increase unity, love, and build strong relationship among them.
So from all the commonalities we had from these cultures, they somehow differ from one another. It is shown by where we found that Pennsylvanian Dutch cuisine, Hawaiian poi, and amata, and honey, which is like honey in Kinyarwanda, ubuchi. They are used to show to increase healthy of the people, where they are used to cure some diseases such as diarrhea, stomach aches, and other diseases. But other cultures, their food were like to have a party and do not care about their health. Like the tailgating party, the food used in tailgating party, they are not to keep people healthy, but it was just to have fun and increase their unity. That is a big difference, because some of the traditions, as we have seen, they take care of the healthy, and some other food in the other traditions, such as tailgating party, they just want people to have fun and to get drunk, but they don't care about the healthy of the people. Thank you.
Also, what I can add is that Japanese lives. Also, it was taken as just to show the prosperity of the or the wealth of the people, but it didn't seem to show like health or having fun. It's just showing prosperity and wealth.
That was all about our project, which is Guess Who Comes to Dinner. Thank you.